in code. It'll go through all this, all that information there, and this is what's being sent before and after, and then it should come up on here. You smell me? You want to put the light on for me, bro? Baba Kasha. You know what I mean? So we just and then so when you want to switch between, you just come back to ManyCam, and boom, you see it there. So you just use that. That's how we switch in between there. You can do the same thing on Google Hangouts, to be honest with you, but I actually prefer how it runs with the boss says loud and clear. I prefer how it runs with with Adobe in it, but the Google Hangouts is quick and easy in it. Quick, easy, and simples. Right, so let's see, check it out. Let's see, so we've got a couple of these clips lined up. Okay, so kick it off like a ball. Right, Shalom. First, we'd like to give all praises unto Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Waha Rakah, and double honors unto the apostles and elders at GreatMillStone, and honors to you brothers out there in the highways and the byways, teaching this word in all sincerity and in truth. We're the Israelites. Basically, we coming out here, you know, to teach the truth of the Bible, you know, and to preach the gospel unto our people, which begins with you so-called Negroes, Hispanics, and Native American Indians, who are the Israelites today, and our descendants scattered throughout the four corners of the earth. All right, and one of the things is that basically you got so-called black people, you know, so-called Negroes, and then you got something called a so-called Hispanic or native of the Americas, and basically we're taught in this man's society that we're two different people, you know, but really in reality we are all of the tribes, the different tribes of Israel. All right, so the so-called native of Mexico, Israelites of the tribe of Issachar. All right, and they're brothers with my tribe. Me and the brother here, we're from the tribe of Benjamin, the so-called West Indian, and that's our brother. All right, and we in these last days, through the spirit of Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai and the knowledge of these scriptures, we gonna come back together to be one people again, 12 tribes in one, and all the divisions and the schisms which have been brought forth upon us, all those breaches is gonna be taken away. In fact, in matter of fact, can you get me that in Amos the 9th chapter real quick? Yep. All right. So you know what, man? This ain't a black thing. All right. This ain't a black thing. This is about Israelites, man. Okay. And guess what? The way we feel and the way I feel about it is, if you do something to Issachar, you're doing something to Benjamin. If you do something to Naphtali, you're doing something to Benjamin. You do something to Judah, you're doing something to Benjamin. You put your hand on one tribe, you're already putting your hand on all the tribes. That's the spirit we're really supposed to be in. We're brothers at the end of the day. Flesh of my flesh and bone of my bones. You got that?
Yeah, I got that. This is Amos chapter 9 verse 11. It says, in that day will I rise up to the tabernacle of David that is fallen.
Right, the tabernacle of David, because when you go back into the days of King David, which you read about in the scriptures, all 12 tribes were together as one with one king. All right, when you go back to the days of King David, so you know, Issachar, Gad, Reuben, all the different tribes were all together as one in harmony. Go on, read on.
And close up the breaches thereof, and I will raise up his ruins, and I will build it as in the days of old. Meaning the Lord is going, all the separation there is between the different tribes, the Lord is going to bring us back together in a knowledge of the different tribes, but as one. So I'm of the tribe of Benjamin, but guess what? If you're an Issacharite, we're the same, ultimately, because we're of Jacob, man. We share the same heritage, right? You're of the holy people, and I'm of the holy people. All right, is that it on that? That's it, yeah.
Yeah, and also, yeah, okay, yeah, go on.
Quick sign. This is Genesis 35 verse 11. And God said unto him, I am God Almighty, be fruitful and multiply. A nation and a company of nations shall be of thee. Oh,
yeah.
Okay, that's not that.
But that's on point. Read that again. A nation
and a company of nations shall be of thee.
Yeah.
And kings shall come out of thy loins.
Right, and that's what Israel is. Israel is a company of nations, because every single one tribe of Israel by itself is a great multitude, man. The tribe of Judah by itself is a great multitude. The tribe of Benjamin by itself. The tribe of Levi by itself. The tribe of Issachar, which a lot of them are being called so-called Mexicans, by itself is a great multitude. Okay, because we're a fruitful people, man.
And we've got all different types of characteristics in different respective nations that we're in amongst the tribes, man.
Yep.
Okay, so we're not all the same. Okay, we don't all look the same, don't all act the same. Okay, but we're all part of Israel, man. So that's it.
Yeah, and then see, you got this ism and schism, and then look at the end of the day, man, we're gonna bring out all that the so-called white men, which are the Edomites, have done to the tribes, all the tribes. We're not biased towards one tribe or another, man. All right, we're grieved at what has been done to our brothers, the Native American Indians, at what's been done to the so-called Mexican, the so-called Brazilian, man, all the natives, man, all our people. We're grieved for that. Okay, this ain't a black thing. This is an Israelite thing. So, like I said, anyone put their hand on Israel or violate any one of the different tribes, you basically violating all the tribes. So that we're putting away that partition that has been established, man, and establishing a unity in Yahweh Shai. Okay, because when you go back to the scriptures, I'm trying to find a scripture real quick. In Amos 6:6, speaking of when you had the split between the southern kingdom and the northern kingdom, it tells you in Amos 6:6 that drink wine in bowls and anoint themselves with the chief ointments, but they are not grieved for the affliction of Joseph. So basically what that means is, back then, the so-called darker tribes, the so-called Negroid tribes, when the other tribes were getting the asses handed to them by the other nations, they weren't grieved for that cause. But we ain't coming in that spirit. All right, so that's why we're here, two Benjamites, and we gon' plead the cause of Issachar, man. All right, and we could speak on that because we're brothers. Now, the title of the video is Mexico is a European or Edomite slave colony. All right, because you got a lot of our people who calling themselves Mexican. They got so-called Mexican citizenship, and a lot of our people of the tribe of Issachar, every year they celebrate Mexican independence and they celebrate Cinco de Mayo, and they show themselves to be patriotic to the identity of being a Mexican, or the corporation which is known as Mexico. But when you really break it down, the corporation of Mexico was set up by the Spanish Edomites to mine the resources and the labor of them. Okay, and what you're gonna find out is, when Mexico so-called gained its independence from Spain, what actually happened was the Edomite descendants in Mexico, who were in control of the slave colony, gained independence from their Edomite brothers in Spain. So if anything, they're the only ones that should really be celebrating. And that's why, unto this very day, the people in Mexico who are really benefiting from the Mexican corporation are the children of the conquistadors, the children of those Spaniards that came over to Mexico, and the natives, the children of the natives, and the so-called Negroes, Judah, Benjamin, and Levi, that were brought over there, are languishing at the bottom of society, man. Basically, socio-economically destroyed, and that's a fact. Okay, so none of our people should be celebrating Cinco de Mayo, and none of our people should be celebrating Mexican independence. So you got a precept you want to bring out?
No, I ain't gonna.
Okay, so what I want to do is we're gonna play a clip. You know, cause we like to educate. Cause I didn't know a lot about. I know about Cinco de Mayo because we be watching Mayweather on May 5th, and I knew it was a so-called Mexican holiday, but I really didn't know much about it, man. So that's why, because we got Cinco de Mayo coming up May 5th again, right? I thought, you know what, man, let me look into it, and through the Spirit, hopefully this will be edifying to not only, you know, the tribe of Issachar, to help wake you up to your true estate, but also to all the rest of the tribes, man, that are scattered all over the Americas, man, and all over the world, man. It's time for us to wake up, man, and put off ignorance. All right, because really it applies to all Israel right now is being patriotic to a slave colony, whether you're calling yourself Jamaican, Trinidadian, American, and basically wherever you are, you're a human resource, and you're glorifying in the fact that you're being used and abused to another man's benefit.
Good,
okay.
Can I add something quickly?
Yeah, go on.
Because you know, you need to remember this is Esau's world, man, and all these celebrations and festivals are really a tribute unto him and his achievements. Okay,
yep.
So although you may consider yourselves, you know, part of this land or part of that land, these celebrations are not really for you, man. You know what I mean? You're there to be made to be exploited.
Yep.
Okay, but it's them to sit back and you know, feel good about themselves and what they've been able to achieve.
Yeah.
You know, it's a mockery.
That's right. You know, a lot of these holidays they celebrate is really about taking our people down.
That's right.
Like the Bastille, the French Revolution. That was all about destroying the French aristocracy, which were really Israelites, man. But anyway, I want to get this 3-minute clip from Jabzi, and they go into make sure this thing, they go into
powering on
the French it's not the French, they go into the Mexican War of Independence, man. Make sure nothing else is playing. All right, so let's get this. Let's do it then.
By the turn of the 19th century, America and Haiti had achieved their independence, and the French Revolution had ousted its monarchy and was at war with Europe. Mexico, on the other hand, was firmly under Spanish control, but its society was organized around race.
Right, so let's stop there. Mexico was under Spanish control. Now, who were the Spanish? The Spanish was talking about Edomites who had taken control of Spain. These were Edomites that were in Spain, and they were controlling their slave colony Mexico from Spain. They formed Mexico. There was no Mexico before Spain. Before that, you had the Aztec Empire, where the Issacharites were living on their own land. The so-called white man came in, conquered them, pursuant to Job 9. We can get that, Job 9 and 24. And they took control of that land, and they formed the slave colony now known as Mexico. That's where Mexico comes from. That's where a Mexican is. So if you call yourself a Mexican, you're a part of a slave colony, a slave corporation, which was built to do what? To take wealth and resources from the land of Mexico and from the people that originally lived in Mexico and translate it to Spain, to the Edomites of Spain. That's what it was designed for. That's what it was set up to do. And it's still doing that to this very day when you really break it down.
Yeah, 929. Because
the Edomites corporations are the ones making all the money in Mexico. Yeah, Job 9 and 24.
24. Okay, this is Job 9 verse 24. It says here, the earth is given into the hand of the wicked.
The earth was given into the hand of the wicked. Now, who's the wicked? The Edomite, the so-called white man. And part of the earth that was given unto him was the land today known as Mexico, which happened to be inhabited by the tribe of Issachar, which were the natives. And they took that land, they conquered that land by the force of the sword. In fact, give me Micah, the second chapter. And after that, we could get Ezekiel, the 7th chapter, real quick.
This is Micah chapter 2 verse 2. And they covet fields and take them by violence, and houses and take them away. So they oppress a man and his house, even a man and his heritage.
Yeah, that's what happened, and that's what is happening. That land over there belongs to the tribe of Issachar. But the so-called white man saw the land, that it was fruitful, and he came over and conquered them by the way of the sword. He conquered them. He enslaved them. He set up the encomienda. What, I can't speak Spanish, man. It's called the encomienda, something like that. Don't quote me, man. Basically, a system of slavery whereby the natives were used as nothing more than human resources to mine the wealth the land today known as Mexico, right, to mine the wealth and translate it back to the nobles, the Edomite nobles that were in Spain, right? And guess what? They're not ashamed of it. When you go to, before they had the euro, before you had the euro that was set up, you had the pesetas, right? Which is, you know, I hope I'm saying, look man, I don't speak Spanish, all right? You know, forgive me if I don't read it correctly, but you had the Spanish pesetas, right? Banknote. Now the thousand pesetas note, which I assume that's a high level note because it, you know, it ain't 10, it's 1,000. Whose face was on that? Hernan Cortez, one of the main devils that went over there and raped, robbed, and murdered and slaughtered our brothers Issachar, right? And our sisters that's over there in the land of the so-called Mexico. And they had his face on the money, which is funny because that's what it was all about. It was all about the money. It was all about the Benjamins, even up until 2002. So they were proud of this devil. He was lauded as a great explorer, but really he was a devil. Yeah, go on now.
Zechariah chapter 11 verse 5 says, "Who possesses slay them and hold themselves not guilty, and they that sell them say, Blessed be the Lord, for I am rich, and their own shepherds pity them not."
Because the Spanish nobles got hella rich from the resources they gained from the lands they conquered, man, over there in the Americas. And they're sitting on that wealth to this very day. Old money. They call it old money, man. And that wealth funded the Industrial Revolution. It funded everything that they've built to this very day. All right.
And the Spain's even got their monarchy still, haven't they? They're getting paid.
They got all kind of rich ass Edomites, man, making all kind of money, man. And they might call themselves Mexican and this, that, and they're really the Edomites, man. All right. Now let's jump back to this thing here.
Spanish-born peninsulares largely ruled.
Right, so when they went over there and conquered, someone called a peninsula. Hold on. I don't speak Spanish, so these pronunciations are killing me. Hey, bro, can you do me a favor? Can you check the comment boards as well? Yeah, on the live stream, just make sure that you always check that. Let me the word is peninsulars. So when they went over there and they conquered the peoples that were over there in Mexico, right? They set up peninsulars, which goes back to peninsula, the Iberian Peninsula, Spain, right? And what that means is those were Edomites that were born in Spain and had traveled over to the New World. They were set up as the heads of Mexico, right? It says in the context of the Spanish colonial caste system, a peninsular was a Spanish-born Spaniard residing in the New World or the Spanish East Indies. The word peninsula makes reference to peninsular Spain and was originally used in contrast to islanders, viz. The native Canary Islanders, alright? So, they set up the peninsulars. They were the #1 people in society. They were at the top of the society. Now, the second group is going to tell you. So, let me go back and I'm going to play it and you're going to hear. Let's hear that again.
Spanish-born peninsulares largely ruled, angering a lot of the Spanish descendants, or criollos.
Right, so this is going into what led up to the Mexican War of Independence. The Mexican War of Independence was because you had a caste system whereby peninsulares, if you were born in Spain, you were automatically of a high rank in the Mexican slave colony. Yeah, which was set up to enrich Spain. Now, what you would have was these Spanish-born Edomites, Spanish-born that were born in Spain, would have children in Mexico. And these were considered to be, let's get the name of it. the criollos. All right. Like I said, I'm not Spanish, so you gotta forgive me. Now, the criollos, right, is a term which in modern times had diverse meanings. I'm doing something. Right? It says, but it's most commonly associated with Latin Americans who are of full or near full Spanish descent. All right? Basically, it says here, historically, they were a social class in the hierarchy of the overseas colonies established by Spain beginning in the 16th century, especially in Hispanic America, comprising the locally born people of Spanish ancestry. So it's talking about Edomites that were born in Mexico. They were given a lower social status than Edomites that were born in Spain. But then where were the natives? The natives were the workforce. The natives were just the workforce. The natives and the so-called Negro slaves, which are all Israelites. They were way down in the caste system. It says in practice, or it says although criollos were legally Spaniards, in practice they ranked below the Iberian-born peninsulares. Nevertheless, they had preeminence over all other populations. Ameri Indians, which are the tribe of Issachar, enslaved so-called Africans, which represent what Judah, Benjamin, and Levi, and peoples of mixed descent, so-called mixed, which the majority of them would have been Israelites. All right, but we're going to get into that later. That goes into the wheat and the tares. Let's get that understanding. So when you're going into the Mexican independence, the root of the Mexican independence wasn't the natives of Mexico rebelling against Spain. It was the native born Spaniards rebelling against Spain. Okay, let's hear that again. We good on the comment board?
Yeah.
If you got anything you got to bring out from
the Spanish speaking bro on the comment boards, man. So
yeah, that's what. Hey, that's exactly right. Because the criollos, they had a lot of them had native mothers. That's why, and they were born there. Anything else the brother's bringing out?
Just breaking it down, innit?
Yeah, Indios equals Israelites. All right. So let's get this, because some of them criollos, they would have had they would have had Israelite fathers too. So that's the wheat and the tares.
Angering a lot of the Spanish descendants, or criollos. This tension caused the outbreak of the conspiracy of the machetes in 1799, but the plan failed, and the population remained loyal to the Spanish king. In 1808, Napoleon forced the two rulers of Spain, King Charles IV and Ferdinand VII, to abdicate, and he installed his brother on the throne. In the absence of a legitimate king, the people of New Spain created juntas, locally formed governments that would serve in place of the Spanish colonial government.
And who you really think was at the head of these governments? These were Edomites.
You read it, man. The earth has been given into the hand.
The earth is given into the hand of the wicked. These were not Israelites, man. These were really Edomites, man. They had Edomite fathers.
The Viceroy of Mexico City, José de Iturrigaray, disputed the legitimacy of the Spanish juntas and created his own. This worried the conservatives and the peninsulares, so he was arrested and removed from his post. Miguel Hidalgo, a criollo priest in Dolores, began to speak against Spanish policies, notably merchants that were withholding grain during a drought in 1807. The authorities began to move against him, so in 1810, Hidalgo called on the population.
And it's just the same thing that happened, man, between Britain and America, man. You one set of Edomites one place, they got the supremacy over another set of Edomites, and them Edomites don't like it. So they rebel and they try and get independence, man.
To join him in a rebellion against the authorities in Mexico. He, like most of the population...
So these were Edomites rebelling against other Edomites for control of the Spanish slave colony. That's what it was. But here it is, you got our people celebrating this like they won something. But it's crazy. You've been deceived, man.
Was still loyal to the deposed King Ferdinand, but his cry of Dolores attracted a small army of mainly criollos to join him, including famous military leader Ignacio Allende. Meanwhile, across
the mainstay of the army weren't even the natives. These were so-called mixed Spaniards born in the land, and like I said, they had most of them had Spanish fathers, man. Because a lot of them Spaniards that were going over there, they didn't take their wives, so they were getting women from among the tribes.
Spanish America, similar movements against the Spanish authorities took hold, and as Hidalgo's army marched on the capital, they were joined by tens of thousands of men and defeated the Royal Spanish Army outside Mexico City in October. But his army suffered heavy losses, and fearing an encounter with well-trained troops holding a defensive position in Mexico City, Hidalgo retreated towards Guadalajara. Many consider this retreat a huge tactical error because Spain regrouped and defeated the insurgent army at the Battle of the Bridge of Calderón in early 1811.
Again, this is a war between Edomites, and they had some Jakes with them, obviously, because they were running Jake. Edomites and their Edomite overlords, man.
Hidalgo and the remnants of his army were captured as they tried to escape to the United States. They were found guilty of treason and sentenced to death. The heads of Hidalgo and Allende were preserved and displayed as a warning. José María Morelos took control of the revolution, won a series of battles, and captured Acapulco, Huautla, and Oaxaca. He also convened the Congress of Chilpancingo in 1813, where Mexico formally declared its independence from Spain, and the first national constitution was ratified.
So that's all it was. The Edomites that were in Mexico declared independence from the Edomites in Spain. But the slave colony continued. The slave colony just continued to this very day.
But his further campaigns proved to be unsuccessful, and he was captured and executed in 1815. Meanwhile, Guadalupe Victoria in Puebla and Vicente Guerrero in Oaxaca continued to lead the insurgency. But the independence movement had largely ran out of momentum because in Europe, Ferdinand VII had been reinstalled as King of Spain, and the Spanish sent armies to reconquer regions like Chile, which had broken free from Spanish rule. The Spanish continued to fight the Venezuelans and in Mexico. In 1820, Colonel Agustin Iturbide...
So the same thing was pretty much happening all over the Americas. You had the Edomites who had basically become disenfranchised and disconnected from their brothers in Europe, breaking off. They were tired of paying the taxes, man. They wanted to keep a bigger piece of the pie for themselves. And that's why you go to Brazil, you go to all these different places, man, you'll find that the super rich and the elite and the upper class in society, they're really Edomites, man. Right. They're the children of the conquistadors, man. That's who they are, to the most part. Now, you might get one or two Jake mixed in among them, but to the most part, they're really Edomites, man, running them countries. And they're living off the money that their forefathers been making. And our people are still living in what? The favelas. Suffering by the millions. But they celebrate Independence Day and all this crap. All this bullshit.
Was tasked with defeating Guerrero's insurgents in Oaxaca. But while Iturbide was on the march to confront the rebels, liberals in Spain led a coup against Ferdinand and established a new government. They brought back the Constitution of 1812, which was a liberal constitution created by the juntas fighting Napoleon. But it was seen as a threat to the traditional beliefs of Iturbide and the loyalists, so he and the royal army decided to switch sides and join the rebels. Guerrero and Iturbide then created...
They're a bunch of Edomites, man. It's a bunch of Edomites.
The plan of Iguala, which guaranteed Mexico would be independent and Catholic, and the Peninsulares and the Criollos would enjoy equal rights.
Iturbide the Edomites that were born with Israelite mothers, they wanted equal rights with the Edomites that came from Spain, man. And they got it.
The army of the three...
Now, you would have had some of the Criollos that would have they would have had what's it called, Israelite fathers, but it was more likely to be the other way around. Because you got to remember, man, in that society, they basically looked at them guys as savages and nothing, man. And they were going in on our women, man.
Which swelled with new recruits, so the viceroy, now unable to combat them, resigned.
Salakia, 1 second. Hey, shalom, Yabba Shemishai Barakatah. Khan, okay. Khan, give me a second. I'll put you on loudspeaker, bro. Alright, bro, you good?
Khan, I wanted to make the point that Edomites fighting Edomites is nothing new. You know, they have historically done that within their own tribes. And when you look throughout history, man, Edomites fighting Esau has always been happening, man. When you go back and you look at some of the accounts of the Peloponnesian Wars, where you had the Greek city-states fighting amongst themselves in order for control and dominance over Athens and the whole of Greece. It took time for that Macedonian Empire to get to its height. You know what I'm saying? After the Persians had came in and basically took down and had Macedonia subject unto them. This is when you had basically Alexander the First. You know, you had the Greeks under subjections as vassals and had quarrels for a couple of 100 years amongst themselves before you had the rise of Philip of Macedon, who was Alexander the Great's father. He was the one to basically get those city-states back in order and having them fight, kind of as one, to where they was coming back up against, the Persians. You know what I'm saying? So, it's nothing new to see how Esau, whenever they came in and those colonizers were controlling North, Central, and South America. And right now, we're hinging on Central and South America. They had took over because America had ridiculous amounts of riches, the natural resources, the precious stones, the things that that these guys saw and was like, oh my God, when they got over there to the Central America, and it's literally a paradise, man. It's literally for brothers that haven't been to Central America or South America. It's literally a tropical paradise when you go over there, man. And when you go over there, they have the native peoples still working in the coffee bean fields, still working, even if you go to Peru in the Andes Mountains, they still got those Andean peoples working as slaves, pretty much, as they own all these larger plantations, whether you want to work from bananas to avocados to whatever you want to talk about, man. You got the Europeans that own it, you got these so-called white people that own it, and they'll do whatever they have to keep those resources. So after some time, they didn't want to be relegated to no taxes or anything from Europe. So they fought Spain, they fought the French. You have the Germans later came over, with them, Mormon doctrines and all that BS, and they have large portions of lands. But I want to read this here real quick in Revelation, the 6th chapter. Revelation chapter 6 said in the 3rd verse, it says, and when they had opened the second seal, I heard the second beast say, come and see. And there went out another horse that was red, and power was given to him that sat thereon to take peace from the earth, and that they should kill one another, and there was given unto him a great sword. So, when you look at these different wars leading all the way up to the American Revolution, or, the Civil War in America, World War I, World War II, Edomites been blowing themselves to smithereens and killing one another for power and position for millennia, Now, I don't have my apocrypha with me. I was going to ask Ak if you could grab Sirach 14:1, Baba Kushai.
Khan.
Sirach 14:1.
Just give me 2 seconds, Arkia.
Mm-hmm.
I get up
Yeah, it's just like this brother GMS undécima hora. He put Edomites born in Mexico don't want to share slaves and goods with Edomites in Europe. That's exactly right, man. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And there's something going on currently with the Mexican government. He put how the Mexican government obey the U.S. orders and interests. There's nothing new. There's nothing new under the sun. He put no hay nada nuevo debajo del sol, which means there's nothing new under the sun. So whenever you look at the current Mexican government, you see that they're making ties. The central banks are making ties with the East, though. There's movements of them linking up with these different BRICS nations, with China, and that's why you see Trump applying more tariffs on Mexico, and that's why you see Trump deal with Mexico a little bit more roughly, because Mexico has been making moves to trade and move outside the dollar. So it's an important place because Mexico's right on the American border. If Mexico gets switched to the other side, that could be a place where China can enter into the U.S. And China has been dealing with Mexico heavily over the course of the past 5 years. I believe you did a sit down on that. I remember seeing a brother do a sit down mentioning the relationship between China and the Caribbeans and Mexico and what's been happening recently.
Khan.
So, these Edomites, man, they make certain moves. Like even when you look at World War II and you see how those different dynasties that was around, Romania, that was around Austria, Hungary, that was, that was coupled with Germany, how they was taking all those families' riches, man, setting each other up, putting up new people in government to rule. Edomites will fuck each other up, man. Their mind is just demented, man. And the Most High is gonna use that for them to kill themselves. You got that in Sirach 14.
Yeah, Khan. Sirach 14:1. Blessed is the man that hath not slipped with his mouth, and is not pricked with the multitude of sins. Is that the one you wanted up?
No, just keep reading. Just keep reading down like through 6.
Khan. Blessed is he whose conscience hath not condemned him, and who is not fallen from his hope in the Lord. Riches are not comely for a niggard, and what should an envious man do with money?
Yeah, and this is the nature of Esau himself, man. It's not going to be comely. Riches are not going to be comely for him, man, because he's too greedy upon it. He doesn't know how to use the resources of the planet Earth and manage it in a way that's going to increase. He manages it impulsively for his immediate lust and desires, because he's the seed of the serpent. Let's keep reading.
Yep. It says, he that gathereth by defrauding his own soul gathereth for others, that shall spend his goods riotously.
And that's what we're gonna see, man. Like we read in the book of Job, how he talks about how he fills his belly. The Most High is gonna prepare for these for the laborers, chiefly the nation of Israel and these other nations, to receive of all those riches once he blows his damn self up, man. Let's keep reading.
Yeah, it's time for that right hand. It says,
that's right.
He that is evil to himself, to whom will he be good?
to he that is evil unto himself, to whom will he be good, man? This dude is a master manipulator, to the point to where he'll manipulate, destroy, and deceive his own children, just for immediate gain for himself, man.
God.
He'll defraud his brother, take his lands, I always like to make this point about the Habsburg dynasty. When you go on tour or whatever, you get to listen to the families that was ruling and what happened and how certain people got certain monies and was able to. In one story, I can't remember the names of the families, but I will never forget the story. The story went like this: you had these tribal immigrants that had came in, the Edomite families. That basically they had pressure from this other group to the point to where they was going to go to war. And they were like, oh shit, we don't have what we need. We don't even have the money to get the weapons that we need. So one of the city states that they was kind of vassals to, they were rich in iron ore, and so they went to ask and say, hey, can we borrow this? Can we borrow money? Can we, in order to get the weapons that we need for this fight, we'll do this for you, making certain terms and conditions of, okay, if you give us these weapons, we'll be subservient to you, So they get the weapons or whatever, and they was able to defeat this competing, group. Well, after you take somebody down and take their riches, it's like a come up. Well, they got those monies, they took them down, and then the people that they borrowed the weapons and the iron ore from, they went and attacked them just after they made a deal with them. Took them and took their iron ore deposits that they had, man, and really expanded their family. Just straight defrauding, man, just doing whatever they could do to come up, man. That's the nature of Esau. And I was just like, when I heard that story, I was like, wow, you gotta watch out. Esau will get you, man.
Yep.
Never trust and so this is how he's done, man. All over the planet Earth, and this is a good example of how he's done our people in Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
What verse are you in?
Yeah, I'm in verse 5. Let me finish that verse. It says, "He that is evil to himself, to whom will he be good? He shall not take pleasure in his goods." Verse 6. "There is none worse than he that envieth himself, and this is a recompense of his wickedness."
Boom. And that's a payback of his wickedness. So the Most High's put it in his mind to be like that, man. And he's going to use that same energy, that same character, for World War III, for the War of Armageddon, to bring all these nations to fight against themselves, man. And it's going to be Esau placed in these different places, living deliciously, fighting each other, man, for the control of the New World Order systems and everything that's going to come along with that mark of the beast, So I just wanted to make that point that ain't nothing new for Esau to be fighting themselves, over resources, riches. They've always had that type of mindset, man. It comes along with being the devil, man. You greedy, you envious, you know what I mean? You covet everything, So I didn't want that point to pass. I was like, okay, that's a good point,
Con.
Hey, look at that. The brother said, it says, the call Mexico belongs to the ostrich-hungry empires all the time. Edomites battling with our people. Yeah, they was linked in with Germany and everything like that. So that's why you have a lot of German-named towns in Mexico, right. And a lot of those settlers are still there even to this day, ruling, So the Mexican history is vast, man. When you go into it, take it from the time of the Aztecs all the way up until now, you'll be sitting there all day reading all types of shit. Like, god damn. But yeah, man, I just want to call in, man, to make that point, man. The water for letting me chime in, bro.
Hey, you already know, bro.
Hey, you see that moon last night, man?
I heard it was a pink moon, man. I didn't even catch it, man.
Man, the glory of Yahweh Shem Shah was showing through it, man. We in those times, man. We definitely in those times. It definitely stood out. That mug was so bright, man. And these nations, man, the Most High stirring it up into these people's minds to fight. So, Lord willing, it continues.
I mean, it's May Day tomorrow as well, so the Lord did these crazy
Yeah, one of the brothers in the chat mentioned that. So, we're going to see what's going to happen. Might be time for an update soon.
Oh, you know.
All right, man. Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shem Rakakadash Barakatham.
Hey, shalom, man. Yahweh Shem Barakatham, man. Shalom.
Hey, shalom.
Yeah, I mean, these Edomites, man, they're a piece of work. You had a lot of massacres that happened in America, and what these Edomites would do, the Rothschilds and their agents will send in a private army, and massacre Edomites, and then blame it on the so-called Indians, man. Blame it on the Gadites, so they could take control of lands with gold and all. So these devils.
Still do the same tactics today.
Yeah, these devils are sick, man. These devils ain't right in the head.
The precept on the bro is going into the.
Yeah, Khan.
Is Habakkuk chapter 2 verse 5 says, "Yea, also because he transgresses by wine, he is a proud man. Neither keepeth at home, who enlargeth his desire as hell, and is as death, and cannot be satisfied." but gather unto him all nations, and heave unto him all people.
Yeah, this man is everywhere, man. He's everywhere, you know, in amongst the nations, just like a parasite, man. Like a parasitic organism, man, just sucking the lifeblood of the people, especially the Israelites, man. And he's a master at getting you to think that you're a stakeholder with this man. That's why you got our people celebrating Mexican Independence Day and Cinco de Mayo, because they think they got some kind of part in Mexico, man. Meanwhile, they're broke, catching hell, but they gonna get drunk on Cinco de Mayo celebrating their overlord's victory.
Because you don't have independence.
Because you're not really independent from them. Yeah, it's crazy. In fact, I want to read a few more precepts from what the elder Ariella brought out. I want to go down through to it's because it goes on point what you just said. Okay, in the scriptures, this is verse 7. He says, and he doeth. It says, if he doeth good, he doeth it unwillingly. Yeah, when these Edomites, if they do something that seems to be to your benefit, it really on the back end is for their benefit. Like, you know, it's for them. Like, they give you some welfare, ain't because they care about you, it's because they think, oh, we're gonna need these people as some form of human resource in the future. So let's, you know, so you gotta feed the slaves. Oh, you thank you, master. He don't care about you. If he felt like he didn't need you at all, you'd be dead. All right, and he doeth it unwillingly, and at the last he will declare his wickedness, and that's what's gonna happen. See, a lot of you Mexicans, so-called Mexicans, which you really Israelites, Esau's got a depopulation plan for you. Now, right now, you might be receiving something from the government, and you know you might feel he's giving you a little something. Hey, but at the end of the deal, when Esau gets to the position he wants, and he's got robots to do most of the work for him, you finished. Esau, man, Esau will get rid of you. He's gonna declare his wicked. You're gonna find out that anything he claimed to do for you weren't ready for your own benefit any damn way. It says the envious man have a wicked eye. Like the elder said, they went over, they saw the glory and the riches of Mexico. They were like, I got to have it. You know, they couldn't go home.
Yeah, even though you was already living there.
Even though you was there. And he stayed there to the point where he created a whole country, and you got a national anthem and all that shit. Blowing up that trumpet. You Issacharites can blow the trumpet, boy. You know, going in hard. That's how bad it was. He never left. He came and he was like, fuck that, I'm not taking and leaving, I'm staying, and I'm gonna milk this sucker. I'm gonna grind this out, you know. I'm gonna have these people thinking I'm with them. Oh yeah, you Mexican, yeah, sing that national anthem, boy. While they sit back in their villas getting rich generation after generation, and you down in the field working.
CC amigo.
We equal now. We equal now. Yeah, right. You're not socio-economically equal. All right. It says, the envious man have a wicked eye. He turneth away his face and despiseth men. Because ultimately they look down, and that's what the caste system was all about. And the caste system still exists, but we're in the politically correct era. So it's basically, it exists, but not on paper. Let's just keep it real. Because socio-economically, everyone still fits into the same caste system. You got the so-called Negroes at the bottom, right, with the rest of the tribes, and you got the children of the Edomites at the top. It's still the same. It's the same in America. America's got a caste system. Just check out the socio-economic data. It's a fact.
That's why they call themselves American, and you're an Afro-American.
You're African-American, man.
Or you're a Native American, but you're not American.
Come on, man.
You're not the same as them.
Go check the wealth gap, and you tell me that the caste system still don't exist. Of course it does. It don't need to be pushed out there like that. It just is what it is now. It's ingrained in society. All right. The system it works by itself. It's clockwork. You just wind it up and it just keeps going. It says the covetous man's eye is not satisfied with his portion, and the iniquity of the wicked drive up his soul. And that's why this devil is everywhere, taking people's lands and oppressing people's, man. Even though, and he don't even live in his own land, in the Middle East, the land of Edom. But everyone else's land, oh man, he's a damn devil. Anyway, let's jump back to, if we ain't gonna, you got any comments you want to bring out there, bro?
No, it's just another scripture.
Okay. We'll check the comment board and we'll bring this out because I want to jump into the I want to get into a little bit more of this information.
No, we've got things to go through.
Is there any more? Yeah. Is there any pertinent comments there?
Edomites impose even the official name of Mexico, Estados Unidos Mexicanos, equal to Estados Unidos de America. You make sense of that?
Yeah, I don't know, man. I know the egg, but any brother that's watching, they could get that, man. I think I understand what the brother's saying. Hey, that's why we need brothers from all over the world, man. Different languages. But let's just play this and then
Powering off.
Oh man, what's going on there? Why is it not connected in?
Powering on. Ready to pair.
Bro was saying here, today Edomites from Canada are taking all of the gold in Mexico without paying taxes and polluting rivers and waters, killing Israelites.
Yeah, these Edomites are going wild, boy. These corporate devils. Cause that's how it runs now. You got these different corporations, man, that these families do. Cause all these top corporations can be owned by an Edomite from anywhere on the planet.
Yep.
That's how it is now. So it's a corporate thing now. Yo, what's going on with my? Oh man, this is Satan. I can't get my thing to work. My audio. Okay, hold on.
Yeah, it's no matter where Israel is, man. They're there to be exploited by Esau, man.
Ready to pair.
It shouldn't be micing. Oh shit, it is. What's going on there? Okay, it's working now.
1st, 1821, the Treaty of Córdoba formally recognized Mexican independence, but 1 month later, Iturbide dissolved the Congress and declared himself Emperor Agustín I. He managed to temporarily annex Central America, which peacefully declared independence from Spain the same year. But his reign would be short and military men would dominate Mexican politics throughout the 19th century. Mexico had gained its independence, but before the nation would enter the modern era, it would experience economic hardships, weakened by constant coups, civil wars, and invasions. Today,
and that was all Edomites, man. Edomites, man. Now, the reason we brought up we got Cinco de Mayo is because most people think that Cinco de Mayo is Mexican independence, but Mexican independence is something completely different. All right, now Cinco de Mayo, which means the 5th of May, is an annual celebration. Which, you know, if you watch boxing, because hey, you know, we over here in Europe, man, we don't know nothing about no Cinco de Mayo, man. I mean, we got a few Hispanics that live somewhere, but you know, we don't around it like that. So we hear about that stuff watching boxing. You know what I mean? May 5th. You know, you be what Mayweather's fighting Maidana. It's Cinco de Mayo. We don't know nothing about that. So obviously we had to look into it. So you got the Cinco de Mayo. Now it says the date is observed to commemorate the Mexicans' army unlikely victory over the French Empire. Now, who was ruling over the French Empire at that time? Because this is post the French Revolution. Now the French Revolution is was all about the Edomites removing the aristocracy and the Israelite aristocracy and royalty from France, and they did it in blood, man. That French Revolution was so bloody that even Esau was like, you know what, man, we got to find a new way to do revolutions, because that shit was crazy. Even the Edomites are like, oh man, that was mad, because that French Revolution, they were dogs licking up blood in the streets for days. They invented the guillotine just to industrially chop off Jake's heads, man. They killed the royal family. The whole royal family got put to death, and they still celebrate that to this day. It's called Bastille Day. Now, so the French Empire we're speaking about here are the Edomites. Now they gained they beat the French in that battle of Puebla, okay, on May the 5th. Under the leadership of who? General Ignacio Zaragoza. So let's look this guy up. This dude was an Edomite. Alright. Let's get General. All right. It says Zaragoza was born in the early Mexican Texas village of Bahia del blah 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 blah. All right. Now it tells you the Zaragoza family moved to Matamoros, Mexico in 1834 and thence to Monterrey, Mexico in 1844. These dudes are Edomites, man. But you know what I'm saying? These dudes, they're not our people, man. Mexico is not ours, man. Mexico is an Edomite construction. That's all it is. It's a slave colony designed to utilize you Issacharites and your land for the benefit and the profit of Edomites. Point blank, period. Alright. What else did I have here? There we go. Mexican nobility. It says the Mexican nobility includes elite indigenous families from the pre-Columbian era. Indigenous elites recognized as nobles in the colonial era. So you had certain Issacharites, sellouts, that basically joined themselves onto these Edomites to oppress their own people, which that ain't nothing new. But even they ended up falling down. See, because Esau will use you, and that's what the Bible tells. Give me that in. Never trust thine enemy. You know what? Esau, just like he did with you had Gadite scouts that the Edomites used to take down other Gadites, and then when they were finished taking down the other Gadites, they put them down. So the Edomites utilized certain sellout Issacharites because they already knew the population, they already knew how to deal with the people, so they utilized them, but then they threw them away. Because where are they now?
This is Sirach chapter 12 and verse 10, right? It says here, never trust thine enemy, for as like iron rusteth, so is his wickedness. Though he humble himself and go crouching, yet take good heed and beware of him. And thou shalt be unto him as if thou hast wiped a looking glass, and thou shalt know that his rust have not all been together wiped away. Yeah, so you got, and just like you got, hey, you gonna have Issacharites today that are selling out to this devil, right? But they gonna fall too. See, any one of our people, man, that's joined on to these devils, man, and helping the oppression of their own people, the Lord is gonna deal with you, man. All right, sellouts, man. Now it says the indigenous nobilities, because we must needs mention the sellouts, because you did have sellouts. It says the Aztecs and other indigenous peoples in Mexico had a system of hereditary aristocracy. So we had our own nobles in place when the Spanish arrived in Mexico. The Spaniards respected this system and added to it, so they injected themselves into it, resulting in many unions between Aztec and Spanish nobility. So what would they do? They'll take the daughters of the existing nobility, right, and marry into it, so then they basically become part of that nobility. Same with the British throne here. So then they'll claim to be some form of indigenous, but really they're devils. So you had our people mixing, giving their daughters and so forth over to these devils, not knowing that what the devil was actually doing was taking over their noble line. Just like the brother from Hawaii always brings out, happened over there in Hawaii. They did the same thing in Mexico. All right. So then now you're gonna have people claiming to be indigenous nobility, but when you really check their lineage, they go back to Edomites. You see? He says the Spaniards respected this system and added to it, resulted in many unions between Aztec and Spanish nobility. Descendants of the elites of pre-Columbian Mexico who received these distinctions included the heirs of the Aztec ruler Montezuma II. That family became known as Condes de Moctezuma and later the Dukes of Montezuma de Tenango. The holders of the title, who still reside in Spain, became part of the Spanish nobility in 1766 when they received a grandeza. A branch of their family on the female side continued to receive an annual payment from the Mexican government in the amount of 500 gold ducats until 1938 as part of a contract signed in the 16th century granting Mexico City access to water and lumber on family property. Some families of pure Amerindian ancestry, such as the Mixtec Valgomez family, were among the richest landowners in New Spain. So these were sellouts.
and after the conquest of the Aztec Empire. Despite being part of the colonial elite after the conquest, the Villa Gomez retained their Mixtec identity, speaking the Mixtec language and keeping a collection of Mixtec. Now, I'd be interested to see where that family is today. But you see, these were sellouts, man. Okay, so we gotta bring that out too. That you got sellouts too, that help these Edomites, man, and then mingle themselves with them. All right. You got a scripture on?
No.
All right. See what else I had out here.
Yeah, the brother mentioned saying it happened in Hawaii as well.
Yeah, it happened in Hawaii, man. It happens everywhere. That's what these devils do. They'll use certain sellouts from the population they're conquering to help the transition of their power. That's how it works. And then they establish themselves as what? The dominant minority. And that's a term. It says a dominant minority is a minority group that has overwhelming political, economic, and cultural dominance in a country. And that's the Edom. Wherever these Edomites go, that's what they do. They become the dominant minority. And that's the same thing in Mexico, Brazil, Argentina, Venezuela, wherever you want to call it. All right. Despite representing a small fraction of the overall population, dominant minorities are also known as alien elites if they are recent immigrants. You see? That's exactly what's going down. So, can you get me Deuteronomy? Oh, you got scripture there?
No.
Get me Deuteronomy the 28th chapter. And we can read about that. From like the 32nd chapter down to like the 45th. But you know, here it is. You got our people, man, celebrating this slave colony that's oppressed them and their forefathers, man. You know, having a good old time. I told you they're bad with them trumpets, man.
Es una tradición que se lleva en el alma, se lleva en el corazón y vive uno con ellos, nace con el olor a pólvora, con el traje.
Jake is lost, man. They expelled the French government, but still being ruled by Edomites from Spain. It's just you know what I'm saying? It's a joke, man. You got that precept part?
Yeah, this is Deuteronomy 28 verse 32. Thy sons and thy daughters shall be given unto another people, and thine eyes shall look and fail with longing for them all the day long, and there shall be no might in thine hands.
Yeah, they came over to the Americas and they put our people to work. They took our children, took our sons and their daughters, and they put them to work for them on their plantations for their purpose. And that's the same even to this day in this corporate society. It's their corporations. You working for their corporations, man, to make their corporations rich. Which who owns the corporations? Edomites, their families. It says the whole economy. You see what people got to understand is the word economy means house management. And the whole economy is designed to redistribute wealth from the poor to the elite Edomites. It's designed that way intricately. They study and design their economy to do a specific thing. So when you see when you look at the socio-economic condition of various peoples, it's not an accident. It's like that way because they want it to be that way. The reason you so-called Negroes, Hispanics, right, have a massive wealth gap even in 2018 between you and the so-called white man is by design. They don't want the wealth gap, because if the wealth gap was to decrease, they're losing wealth and you're gaining. It don't work like that. Esau don't deal with loss. Esau ain't trying to lose. For whose benefit? Yours? You better get right, man. This yeah, carry on up.
Yep. I had a quick precept as well.
Okay, go on, yeah, bring it.
This is Micah chapter 2 verse 10. So that arise ye and depart, for this is not your rest, because it is polluted. It's set up against you, man.
Yeah. This whole society on every level, whether you're talking about education, the religious system, the whole entire system is against you, man. It's only serves to destroy you, to grind you into the dirt.
That's what it goes on to say, man. It shall destroy you, even with a sword of destruction.
And you Issacharites over there in Mexico are destroyed. And don't think I'm picking on Issachar. Benjamin is the same way. All the tribes are the same way. Today, they're bugged out. They're crazy. They're celebrating Independence Days in slave colonies. It's just madness. You got them the Benjamin over there in Jamaica and celebrate. Jamaica's a slave colony. The so-called white man is making all the money. It's a damn holiday resort for Edomites to go and have the most lavish time in their life. Meanwhile, they're struggling on the island that they're supposed to have independence on. It's all bullshit, man. And it ain't just Jamaica. All the islands, man. All the tribes. The so-called Negro in America, jumping up and down, on the TV talking about I'm an American. I'm proud to be an American. When you got on average you got like $5,000 wealth compared to the so-called white man's $150,000. Under some, living in ghettos, but because you got one or two celebrities that the so-called white man pays some crumbs to, you thinking you made it somewhere, like we're a nation of Mayweathers. Like you gonna turn around the corner, you gonna throw a stick, and you just hitting so-called Negro millionaires and billionaires. You can't. No, man, no. You ain't up in the country club. You ain't up in the country club. You so-called niggers ain't going on 3 5-star holidays a year. You going down south to stay with family, man. You know what I mean?
Regardless, even with all Mayweather's wealth, right? He's still not deemed an elite.
Yeah, he ain't of the elite. He's working for the elite.
Yeah, that's right.
He's making the sports industry money. Who owns the sports industry? So-called white man.
He's not the one with the power.
He's a product, man. He's simple as that, man. You so-called niggers, if you were equal to the so-called white man in America, then guess what? Hey man, I've been on holiday. When you go, and this brother been too, and I ain't going on a 5-star. Which anyone, if you save up enough money, you can go on a 5-star holiday. But can you go on 3 of them every year? I don't think so. Okay, all right. These Edomites, for real, a lot of these Edomites go on at least 2 5. They got a summer and a winter holiday.
Man, they can do that spontaneous shit that you can't do, man.
The whole tourism industry in the world is geared towards so-called white people. No matter where you go, if you go somewhere on a resort somewhere, the food they cook, the way they cook it, the entertainment they provide, everything they do is catered to the people they know more than likely is going to be visiting their resort to spend money. Yeah, so you go and you got to tell them you don't like eggs a certain way because they're going to make the eggs the way so-called white people have it. They're going to automatically cook the steak rare because that's how Edomites like it.
Half-cooked meats.
It's not geared to you. You so-called Negroes ain't boosting the tourist industry. You know why? Because you socio-economically, you do not really have the disposable income to really drive industries like that.
And you see it when you go.
Yeah, when you go.
You're on that plane or you're in that resort or whatever.
You be the only so-called black person there.
Bro, it's like you don't exist.
And everyone's looking at you like you sticking out at the pool and shit.
Yeah.
Just Edomites everywhere.
That's alright.
You Jakes, you Israelites, wherever you are, man, you finished, man. But you got the TV's got you messed up, and all these false promises of opportunity and equality got you all messed up. Look, man, you are just in the continuation of the same system, and you're in the same position your forefathers were in, with a little bit of political correctness. Go on now.
Yeah, back in Deuteronomy 28, this is verse 34. It says, so that thou shalt be mad for the sight of thine eyes, which thou shalt see. The Lord shall smite thee in the knees and in the legs, and with a sore botch that cannot be healed, from the sole of thy foot unto the top of thy head. The Lord shall bring thee and thy king which thou settest over thee unto a nation which neither thou nor thy fathers have known, and there shalt thou serve other gods, wood and stone.
Which your king is David. And you are worshipping God's wood and stone under these devils, Catholicism. Catholicism is nothing more than idolatry, man. Alright? Go on.
So
Well, Christianity is idolatry, period. Not just Catholicism. Christianity, period, is nothing more than idolatry.
And that's what they brought to you too.
And they brought you that.
Because you wasn't worshipping Caesar Borgia before they came along.
Now you
was going off. You had your own thing, you know. You was going off.
but now you're still going off. You're going off even more now.
Mm-hmm.
You're going off even more.
Alright, verse 37 says, "And thou shalt become an astonishment and a proverb and a byword among all nations, whither the Lord shall lead thee."
And you know what you find out, man, that you so-called Hispanics, man, ain't nobody rate you, man. Man, I remember I spoke to one woman from Spain, man. She told me you Hispanics ain't nothing but a bunch of criminals, man. I was like, God damn. All of them? That's how they view you, man. You get viewed just the same as the so-called Negro.
Yeah.
Because them curses, man. You will get called a wetback, a spick. Go on, huh?
That's right.
There's a lot of you try to slide off and call yourself white and still catch curses. Because this is spiritual, man. You try to tick white on the... Yeah, I'm white. White Hispanic. Man, you think you going to fool them demons, man? Them curses gonna whoop your ass up, man. Them curses going to get you, man. The curses don't really... You know, the curses don't catch you no matter what you look like.
That's right.
Go on.
That's right. Verse 38.
Or what you tick. Go on.
So that thou shalt carry much seed out into the field, and shalt gather it but little in, for the locust shall consume it.
Yep.
Thou shalt plant vineyards and dress them, but thou shalt neither drink of the wine, nor gather the grapes, for the worm shall eat them. Thou shalt have olive trees throughout all thy coasts, but thou shalt not anoint thyself with the oil, for thine olive shall cast his fruit.
So you just going to catch hell. You're going to get famine. When you try to produce your own goods, you're going to get famines. You're going to catch hell. You're going to be cursed. Right? But then when you're producing for your enemies, it seems like it's a bounty, but you still don't get it. Go on.
This is thou shalt beget sons and daughters, but thou shalt not enjoy them, for they should go into captivity.
That's right. You can't enjoy. Your children grow up in an oppressive system. They grow up in poverty and grow up in the same oppressive system that you grow up in. Generation after generation after generation, man. That's what's happened. That is the truth. That is the reality. Go on up.
Verse 43, the stranger that is within thee shall get above thee very high.
The stranger, now another word for stranger is alien, and that's what I wanted to get to.
Yep.
And we just read, where was we, man? We just read about the where was it? The dominant minority known as alien elites. And that's what's happened, man. All over the Americas, you got a bunch of alien elites running things. Okay? Alien elite, strangers. And then on top of that, you've had other Edomites, like the brother said, Germans and all that have come in and they've come up above you.
Yep, set up shop there.
Chinese, all of that. Going up.
Has to be the curses. Huh?
That's them curses, baby.
Alright, so the stranger that is within thee shall get up above thee very high, and thou shalt come down very low. He shall lend to thee, and thou shalt not lend to him.
Yeah, a lot of you are in debt, you know, hurt. Go on.
He shall be the head, and thou shalt be the tail.
He controls the government. He controls the industries. He controls the corporations. You're just a worker. You're just a human resource. Go on, up.
Moreover, all of these curses shall come upon thee, and shall pursue thee, and overtake thee, till thou be destroyed.
And you have been destroyed. That's why you got no sense of identity, man. You just messed up, destroyed, impoverished, bugged out, celebrating your own oppression. True. But that's why the Lord's got his prophets out here, though you be dry bones, as it is in Ezekiel the 37th chapter, to throw some water up to hydrate you, man, to bring you back to life through these scriptures, man. You're not Mexican, man. You're of the tribe of Issachar, and Yahweh Shai, the Son of the living power, is your king. And the Heavenly Father, the living power, Yahweh, is your father, man. And the reason these things have happened to you and your people is, guess what? Because you broke the law, statute, commandments of the Heavenly Father. But through Yahweh Shai, there's forgiveness of sins and salvation. not Jesucristo, the so-called white man. Go on up.
Verse 45 again says, moreover, all these curses shall come upon thee, and shall pursue thee, and overtake thee, till thou be destroyed, because thou hearkenest not unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to keep his commandments and his statutes which he commanded thee. And they shall be upon thee for a sign and for a wonder, and upon thy seed forever.
And that's why over there in Mexico, you got a whole bunch of destroyed and impoverished people. Right? Stuck. Even when Mexico's doing good, they're still poor and impoverished. Why? Because they're Israelites and they're under that curse. Alright? And that curse is going to be a sign onto them. That's why they got all that gang warfare and the murderings and the killings and all that. It's because they're Israelites, man. That's why they're filling up the jails, just like the so-called Negro, because they're Israelites, man. Same curses. Alright, now what I wanted to do before we close up is go into the fact that, you see, they like to say, oh, everyone in Mexico's mixed now. Yeah? Nah, man. Look, man, the majority of them are still, Israel's more fruitful than Esau, man. So the majority of them Mexicans are still Israelites, man, according to their father's lineage. But yes, like I said, among them people calling themselves Mexicans, of course you're going to have Edomites, because the Edomites were sowing his seed. But the scripture says Israel is as the sand of the sea, man. We're a fruitful people, man.
Well,
Esau's a fag.
We just read about the dominant minority. They're a smaller group still.
Yeah.
You know, Jake is the larger group there, but they're just not running now.
Yep.
They're poor.
That's the majority of the people. Yep. And that's why they got this term called mestizo, which is a term traditionally used in Spain, Latin America, and to a lesser extent in the Philippines, which originally meant a person of combined European and American Indian descent. But guess what? We know that according to Deuteronomy 32:8, the seed is separated according to the sons of Adam, according to men. So you're gonna have a lot of Mexicans that they got Edomites mothers in their lineage, but really their father's lineage is pure unto Israel, right? And then you're gonna get Edomites over there that they got Israelite women, Issacharite women in their lineage. But guess what? Their father's line is pure unto Esau. That makes them Edomites and tares. Oh, you're gonna get over there, you're gonna get different tribes. So you're gonna get guys over there that's Mexican, but really they're Judah. But they might look like a or and so forth.
Remember the bro I mentioned on the comment boards a while ago. He said there's a lot of Judah, Benjamin, Levi.
Yeah, a lot of Judah, Benjamin, and Levi mixed in with Issachar, but then they're still Israelites.
Yep.
Because if an Israelite from one tribe and another tribe, we really don't mix, because you're gonna be whatever tribe your father is. But 100%, as long as the father's an Israelite, then it's an Israelite, and that's how it works. So you got a lot of people saying they're mixed over there, but really nobody's mixed. It's according to the father's lineage, man. So really, everyone has got a pure lineage. They got a nationality. So every Mexican that's nationality, that's lineage, goes back to one of the tribes of Israel, which is the majority of them. They're Israelites. And guess what? Any one of them that are of the elect are going to be plucked out from the world by the way of this gospel, through faith, through the Spirit, because the Lord knows those that are His.
Like I mentioned earlier, all these physical differences, these traits that we all, we've got different looks to us and that kind of stuff, man. That's all superficial stuff, man. You know, that is not the genealogy. That is not the lineage. You can't tell by lineage just by how somebody looks, man. But you're going through back to Israel, your fathers, man. That's what really counts, man.
Yep, that's what counts.
Still getting caught up on DNA and that.
Yep.
And
that's why you're going to get certain Mexicans that look so-called white, but they're really Israelites, because guess what? If you go further off back in their lineage, their father's line is pure Israelite. But there's the Edomite side is coming in, the Edomite looking side is coming in from the mother's side. Right? And vice versa. You're going to get Edomites that look dark as hell. But really, check it out, they're Edomites. Could we get the Matthew 13? And let's get straight to the point. And let's finish up on that. So that's why you got guys saying, oh, they're not Israelites, they're all mixed. Really, there's no such thing as mixed. You still really are whatever tribe your father is. Alright? So, you know, don't try and make it look like, oh, so none of them are Israelites, because, you know, it don't work like that. There's still a separation there, according to the fathers.
That's right. That's right, yeah.
Get straight down to the point. Of the breakdown of the parable.
Matthew chapter 13 and verse 37. So he answers and said unto them, Here so if the good seed is the Son of Man. The field is the world.
The field is the world. Right? So the good seed was sown into the world. This good seed represents what? The Israelites. Right? The chosen seed of the Most High. Read on.
The good seed are the children of the kingdom, but the tares are the children of the wicked one.
Right, the children of the kingdom are the Israelites, because the saints are going to possess the kingdom, and the holy people, pursuant to Deuteronomy 7 and 6, are the Israelites. So the Aztecs were that holy seed. They were the children of the kingdom. And then the Edomites, the so-called white men, are the children of the wicked one. Alright, go on.
The enemy that sowed them is the devil.
Right, so the enemy came in among our people and sowed his seed among our people. So like you see in this image here, the Edomite man, so-called white man, would take a native woman and have a child with that native woman. Right? Now that child, whether it be male or female, is an Edomite. It's the seed of the wicked one. But that child might grow up among our people and look like our people, but it's really a tear, and vice versa. Read on.
Yep. And the enemy that sowed them is the devil. The harvest is the end of the world.
And we're at the end of the world right now. Read on.
And the reapers are the angels.
And the angels know exactly who's who. And like I said, the elect of Israel, the angels are going to seal them through the hearing of this knowledge. 2/3 are going to be destroyed and go back to the Father. And the Edomites are going into slavery. Right. And that's exactly what's going to happen. And there ain't going to be no confusion or no mistakes being made, because the Lord knows exactly who is who. In the spirit, the spiritual Google. So a lot of you, oh, you don't know who's this and that. Listen, I don't need to know. The Lord knows. I trust in the Lord. This is his work. I don't need to go around the world and know everyone's lineage. The Most High knows. You guys better not forget that our Lord is a God of knowledge, man. I don't know who you think you're dealing with. This ain't of men. This is of the Lord. The scripture said the very hairs on our heads are counted, man. So you think the Lord don't know who his people are, man? You think the Lord don't know the difference between the wheat and the tare? Even though you, according to the flesh, can't tell, the Lord knows.
Well, you mentioned about the hair, man. You don't even know how many hairs on your head.
Oh, hell no.
So, you know, we ain't gonna worry about things like that, man. The Most High knows.
Yeah, we just teach the truth and make sure it's the whole truth. And the Lord is going to bring in, he's going to bring in the wheat. But the tares are going to be burnt. Simple as that. None of the wicked shall understand. That includes 2/3 of our own people. Go on.
Says, verse 40 says, As therefore the tares are gathered and burnt in the fire, so shall it be in the end of this world.
That's exactly what's going to happen. So none of you Edomites that's trying to mix yourself and construe and confuse the nationalities and I'm Mexican, and none of the Edomites are going to be getting on a chariot. Oh yeah, I'm Mexican too, but we ain't dealing with no Mexicans, man. We're dealing with Issachar.
Exactly.
You don't know what you're talking about.
All these terms you got, they don't exist. You ain't gonna fool no angel with that.
Yeah, you ain't fooling no angels, man. I don't know what you thought.
The Son of Man shall send forth his angels, and they shall gather out of his kingdom all things that offend.
And what's the most offensive thing among our people? These heathens, man, these tares that are among us. They're going to be gathered out. They're going to be rooted out, man. Our nation is going to be made pure in the elect. In the marriage of the Lamb, there's only going to be Israelites. And then, and that's it. Ain't going to be no Edomites. All right. So for those of you that is trying to say, oh, all of our people, they were just bred out. They don't exist no more. They're all mixed. You out of your damn mind, man. Of course the Lord will preserve the seed of Israel. Are you crazy? Are you out of your mind? Plus, Esau's a faggot anyway. So ain't got virility like that. All right. Esau like anus, man. Esau get a woman pregnant by accident, man. For real, like he slip it in the wrong hole. Oh fuck.
It says, they shall gather out of his kingdom all things that offend, and them which do iniquity, and shall cast them into a furnace of fire. There shall be wailing and gnashing of teeth.
So the Edomites are going to be purged out, and even 2/3 of our own people, the wicked of our people, are going to be purged out. Alright, is that it on that?
Yeah.
Okay, I think we got the main points, man. I mean, I was going to bring this article out, and it shows you that the caste system is still in operation. Pretty much in, you know, you can see the so-called white people in Mexico. They're doing it large, man. But you know, it is what it is. It is what it is, man. And the Jake, obviously Judah, Benjamin, and Levi, man, they get hurt over there. But it is what it is. But anyway, I mean, yeah, man, that's the point we wanted to make on it, man. Like I said, you so-called Mexicans that are of native descent through your father's lineage, man, you're our brothers, man. You are our brothers. We are of the same. We share the same history. We share the same heritage. We share the same enemy, and we share the same destiny, man, which is to be manifested as sons of the Most High in the kingdom of heaven, and to rule over these other nations, man, together in righteousness and in harmony and in peace and in love, in Yahweh Shai. Right? And I stress in Yahweh Shai. So in these last days, man, it's time for you to wake up. And you might not understand English very well, but guess what? There's brothers that speak Spanish, man. Because we scattered, so we speak all different languages, but the Lord raising up prophets in all the different languages so that his elect may be sealed, man. Alright, so you are brothers, man. So all that bullshit, in fact, give me that in Isaiah 11:11, where the so-called Hispanics, the natives of the Americas, you got beef with the so-called Negro, and that's all going to be put to bed in Yahweh Shai anyway, because we shouldn't be hating our brother without a cause, man. You just hating for your brother because he look different, man. No, that's your brother, man. Or because he don't speak Spanish. No, that's your brother, man. And what happens to your brother happens to you, man. You're supposed to be your brother's keeper, the flesh of my flesh, bone of my bone. You're supposed to love your brother, man. So, and you see that in the camps. You got so-called Negroes, so-called Hispanics, Native American Indians together in the camps, and we brotherly with each other, man. And we don't see each other as different in terms of we're aliens, man. Mm-hmm. I mean, we got, we're different tribes, but we're the same people, man. All right. So from Benjamin to Issachar, baby, that's what's up, man. And you welcome. Okay.
It's Isaiah chapter 11, verse 11. And it shall come to pass in that day that the Lord shall set his hand again the second time to recover the remnant of his people, which shall be left from Assyria and from Egypt.
The second time, because you should all know the story of Moses. It was our people, the so-called Negroes, Hispanics, and Native American Indians, and our descendants scattered throughout the four corners of the earth, who were the 12 tribes that came out of Egypt together, man. And we've been separated throughout the ages, man, through captivities and so forth. But now we're going to come back together and be delivered together again.
Yep.
Go on.
And from Egypt, and from Paphros, and from Cush, and from Elam, and from Shinar.
So our people are scattered all over the globe. That's why I said the so-called Negroes, Hispanics, Native American Indians, and our descendants scattered throughout the four corners of the earth.
That's right.
Go on.
And from Hamath, and from the islands of the sea.
Mm-hmm.
And he shall set up an ensign for the nations.
The ensign is Yahweh Shai, this gospel, this truth. This truth is a sign, it's a signet. It's like a light to call our people back to the Lord. Go on.
And shall assemble the outcasts of Israel.
The outcasts, we all became outcasts from Israel, because none of us had our identity. That's why if you're calling yourself a Mexican, you're an outcast, man. Because really you're an Israelite, but you out there, man. You in exile.
Yep.
And now you being called back out of exile through Yahweh Shai HaMashiach, man.
And gathered together the dispersed of Judah from the four corners of the earth. Because
even just the tribe of Judah alone is scattered throughout the four corners of the earth. But there's an elect of them, the Lord's going to bring them back. Beginning with the elect of Judah in America. That's where it began. It began in America, with Judah in America. But there's Judah all over the world, all over in the Americas. It's Judah among Benjamin, and there's Judah among everyone, man. So guess what? If there's elect of Judah there, they're going to come back. Simple as that, man. It ain't hard, man. It's just not rocket science, man. Guys try to complicate the thing.
It says, the envy also of Ephraim shall depart, and the adversaries of Judah shall be cut off.
Now Ephraim and the so-called Puerto Ricans, they're the head tribe of the northern kingdom, and they always clash with Judah, going back to the beef between the northern and the southern kingdom, and that beef kind of exists onto this very day. But the Lord said he gonna put away all that, man. Look, man, there's an order in Israel. The throne of Judah is the head throne of all the thrones of Israel, because even though each tribes have their own heads and their nobles, the scripture tells you that David was first king over Judah, but then the Lord made David king over all the princes and the tribes of Israel, and that's just what it is. But that's a good thing, because even the Queen of Sheba said, "No, man, surely the Lord loved Israel that He set up Solomon as being king over Israel, man." And David, so it ain't the throne of David is there for the benefit of all the tribes. It ain't like Judah is just going to oppress. This ain't about oppression. This is just about order and decency. But we all brothers, man. We ain't going to oppress each other. We love each other. We going to do good to each other. Even the Lord said we ain't supposed to be like, what did the Lord do? He washed His own disciples' feet. He said, look, you ain't going to be like how these nations are. Soon as a guy gets power over another guy, he just being an asshole. Just because you're over someone in the order don't mean it has to only be to your benefit, and you got to be an asshole about everything. It could be toward their benefit too, because the Lord given you the wisdom to rule for a reason. Just like if you're the head of like the man is the head of his family, it's for the benefit of the whole family, is it not?
That's right.
Go on.
So the envy of Ephraim shall depart, and the adversaries of Judah shall be cut off. Ephraim shall not envy Judah, and Judah shall not vex Ephraim.
Meaning Ephraim ain't gonna have a problem with the throne of David, because that problem started way back there with, was it Rehoboam? And Jeroboam, where was it Jeroboam? Which one was the son of Solomon? Rehoboam was Rehoboam basically tried to oppress the other tribes, man, and they were like, fuck this shit. You know what I'm saying? Alright? But hey, Yahushua, the scripture tells you Yahushua is sitting on the throne of David right now, and he said, hey, come unto me, for I am meek. Oh man, what's that? Let me get that scripture real quick. Yahushua isn't an oppressor, man, of his people, and David ain't an oppressor either. Okay, David loved the people. All right. My yoke is easy. Right? And all you guys that's Judahites running around screaming Judah, acting crazy, man. You need to stop that, man. I'm 1000% Judah and all this, man. Look, man, you're just from the tribe of Judah. Yeah, it's better for you to set a good example for your brothers than run around trying to be proud and still acting wicked. All right, this ain't about
trying to pose
trying to flex on man's man.
You haven't been granted authority over nothing yet.
you ain't David, my man. Man's running around 1000% Judah. What does that even mean? It's 100%. 1000% Judah. What you think that makes you better, man? A lot of Judahites gonna get burned up with them missiles, man. Right. You better humble yourself.
That's right.
All right. But there is an order, of course, because the throne of David is resting in Judah, man. The set thrones that we set for judgment. This is Matthew 11:28. Now this is Yahushua, and he's of the tribe of Judah, and he's the ruler of all Israel. It says, "Come unto me, all ye that labor." That's all the tribes, and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. So Yahushua is going to give rest to all the tribes. So he ain't coming to oppress, to raise up Judah and oppress the other tribes. Yep.
That's not that.
It says, "Take my yoke upon you," because obviously we're all servants unto him, of course. This is the order. He's the king. David's going to be the king. We're going to all be David's servants. But it's going to be a righteous servitude. Really, it's a liberty, because we were made to serve in that order anyway. All right? But everybody got to serve somebody. It says, "For I am meek and lowly in heart, and ye shall find rest unto your souls." So Ephraim ain't going to have to envy Judah. They're going to respect the order. "For my yoke is easy and my burden is light." Unlike my man, was it Rehoboam?
Oh, yeah.
That dude tried to put some heavy yoke on the tribes and fucked everything up. All right? Yeah, go back to that scripture in We close up. And Judah ain't gonna vex Ephraim. Judah ain't gonna behave himself proudly, or we gonna be in harmony, and there's gonna be order. Beginning with Yahushua and King David and the throne of David being over all the tribes. And Judah is the head tribe. And you know what, man? That comes with a great responsibility to act right. Alright? So instead of running around screaming out Judah, why don't you set a good example for the rest of the tribes and stop acting like a fucking nigger? Alright? That's what I got to say. You got to be humble, man. When you get put into a position, you got to think, man, that's a great thing. I got to act properly, man.
The scripture said, the greater thou art,
the more humble thyself, man.
That's right.
This ain't you got to set a proper example for the rest of the tribe. But a lot of you Judites running around acting crazy, man. Even you ones that are calling yourselves Israelites, man. Acting like niggas, man. Come on, man. It's time for us to do better, man. To do better. All the tribes. If you're a Benjamite, honor the name of Benjamin and do better, man. Love your brother. Do better, man. Be in order. All right.
Yeah. Do you want the rest of this chapter?
That was it. Okay, that's it on that, man. So we've been. I don't want. Hey, Cinco de Mayo, man. To hell with that. It's wicked. All right. We're Israelites. Okay. We ain't supposed to celebrate our own oppression, man. That's retarded as hell. Okay. You so-called Mexicans of Aztec descendancy. All right. You're Israelites, man. If you can receive it in the spirit. And if you are, and you receive it in the spirit, that means you're going to separate yourself from Mexico and being Mexican and all that BS and come back to the Father, man, in the spirit, man.
Our true identity.
Our true identity, man.
Right. So
that we could get this victory right here and have some real Israelite independence celebrations.
Hey,
and you could play them trumpets, man, like you do.
Hey,
They be going in hard.
We're gonna party hard, man.
Yeah, we're gonna party hard, man.
We gonna revel over these fucking heathens, man.
Yeah, we're gonna celebrate our own supremacy and rulership, man. Not no
right.
damn devil's supremacy over us.
That's right,
okay.
That's right.
All right.
Yep.
Is it on that? Anyone?
Yeah, shalom to the brothers on the comment boards, man.
Yeah. All you brothers, man. Shalom, man, from all the tribes,
That's
all
right.
12 tribes, man.
Yeah. That's it. We see someone says 12 tribes but one power.
That's right, man. We're all one. The scripture says we're all one in Yahushua, the whole nation. We're all under that order which is in Yahushua, and we're gonna all be blessed. The whole seed. We're gonna receive blessings, man. Eternal life. And that's a beautiful thing.
We're gonna sing that new song. Yeah, that's right.
We're gonna sing that new song with them trumpets. The way them guys, them Issacharites go in, boy. They're going in differently. Them Spanish can't go in like that, man. They're a bunch of Edomites, man. I've been to Spain. A lot of them are Edomites, man. They ain't got no flavor, man. All right.
Don't brown up either.
Yeah, man. Them dudes be getting sunburned like a mother. Anyway.
Yeah, that's it.
Hey, so with that, we say shalom, Akim.